Hello, happy Sunday, and welcome in for our next collective week ahead card pull for the month of October. I am just going to light some incense here as we prepare to tune in for our collective energies in this coming week. Bringing in a little unicorn incense for us. And, we find ourselves on the other side of the solar eclipse in Libra. We are in Libra season. We're really being brought into this zoom in from the close-up angles of our relationships and the ways in which they are absolutely our greatest teachers and sources of insight, guidance, and wisdom into this collective human journey, the fool's journey that we are all on. So, all of that kind of coming together here as we tune into another week with some notable astrological weather and aspects that we're moving through. I'm going to highlight those, of course, in our energetic weather segment that I will do on the other side here of these card pulls. We're going to be tuning in again to the Trick or Treat Tarot, which is so fun and seasonal and bringing in some festive flair into this season that really is about the brilliant disguises and the layers that we are peeling back and exploring potentially from a much deeper way. And so, this is where we get into that shadowy stuff. So we'll see, what's coming up for us to move through collectively, of course. But also, as individuals. So as I like to say, this is a collective reading. So of course, what's coming forward here, you're always invited to take what resonates, leave the rest. That's how it works. There's always someone else there to pick it up. But that being said, it's really remarkable. And I love hearing from each of you on how you find these messages to unfold and resonate for you throughout the week. Because of course, we're using the days of the week in the 5 cards we're going to pull from the Trick or Treat Tarot to kind of set these markers along the way of the week in terms of, what's coming in, the potential blocks and challenges, a midweek blessing, how we are growing, and just sort of wrapping it all up. And then we're going to cap it off with an oracle card from the Halloween Oracle, another seasonal favorite. And in fact, I will be doing a pick a door this week on the 1010 portal. So stay tuned for that with this deck. So we'll kind of get a preview into that and that gateway that is coming up rapidly, hard to believe, as we move through week 2 of October. So I'm going to get started pulling these 5 tarot cards to see what comes forward. And this is where I say, if you are watching this on my free Empowerment Sharecast on Marco Polo, thank you so much for being here. You know what we do. If you would like a personal card pull this week with these cards to see how that's coming forward for you and get a little deeper, I welcome you to that. If you would like, just feel free to let me know in whatever way works for you. If you're catching this on one of my social media spaces, I invite you to join me over on the Marco Polo app in my free space, the Empowerment Sharecast. So that's where I share these weekly card pulls. We go deeper. We do the special things like the pick a cards. We did a pick a pumpkin this past weekend. Like I said, we're going to do the pick a door for 1010. And I offer other special things, namely this free personal card pull for you. So I do encourage you to check that out. Link, of course, is in my bio, but if you would like to, feel free to respond, reach out to me, and I will get you there. Okay, so what's coming forward for Monday? That one jumped right out. 10 of Swords. That's a stick a fork in me, I'm done card for me. Yeah, so there's this culmination of all of this air energy that we have been in terms of, what's coming up in our thoughts, our beliefs, our understandings in the mental aspects in terms of our perspectives and how we are processing things. But, a number of different ways that energy could be showing up where we're feeling sort of a culmination or a finishing out of cycles and eager to see perhaps what's on the other side in terms of these layers that we are peeling back. And we do have some things ending and beginning this week in terms of some of the astrological weather. We have some retrogrades ending, new retrogrades beginning. And again, like I say, another powerful turning point is the 1010 portal, which is, of course, in itself representative of endings and new beginnings as a 10, the one energy. So yeah, we'll get into that. See how this card is setting the stage for us. Tuesday is the card that represents a potential block or challenge this week. So we'll see what's coming in there. Potential block or challenge. Ooh, 9 of Cups. Yeah, so all the cups, all the wishes, all the blessings, blocked or challenged in some way of perhaps fully realizing that or fully opening into that potentiality and taking a look at also what we have been wishing for and whether or not I'm seeing how this is sort of up the stairway, these cups, as we move through all of these energetic shifts and as we peel back all of these layers, we're continually coming to this point of reassessment. Do I still wish for these things? Is this what I want? Be aware of what you wish for, because there is something on the other side in terms of the cause, effect, consequence, what we are giving and receiving, all of that. So we'll talk about this 9 of Cups showing up as a potential block or challenge this week. Wednesday represents how we are growing. I'm sorry, a midweek blessing. I'm getting ahead of myself. A midweek blessing. So what is the midweek blessing there on Wednesday, which I will say, if I can get my dates right, yep, October 9th, 2004, I got married, and my husband and I are celebrating our 20-year wedding anniversary. I cannot believe it. Wednesday is definitely a midweek blessing for me in terms of looking at all of the things, all of the twists and turns and ups and downs and layers of wishes and blessings and cups overfilling and stick a fork in me, I'm done, and all the other things in between. Reflection point for sure as we celebrate that benchmark in our relationship here in Libra season, not lost on me. So what is coming up here for Wednesday, midweek blessing for us all, which is interesting because this is card 10, this is card 9. We're talking about 10-9, the date here for this midweek. So moving through those two energies, we build up to this midweek, and there's a blessing in there. Ace of Swords. Oh, I love it. So you see, freedom from the entanglement of all the 10 swords that are all sort of, in this place of finality and completion and inability to move because we're literally in like an analysis paralysis or an overload of that swords energy. There's great clarity and rebirth that comes forward through the Ace of Swords. It's a new beginning, a new thought, a new belief, a new understanding, another layer that we've moved through that brings in this aha. So that's a blessing indeed, that sometimes, having to go through the entanglement of sorting through all of these things that have kept us pinned and have pained us in some way, that actually, as we look at that alongside of all of the blessings, the wishes, the hopes, all of those things that challenged energy brings in, we come through with some clarity and aha and awareness in that process. And the bats are a beautiful symbol of rebirth for sure. So we'll talk about that when we go into our deeper messages. We've got Thursday as how we are growing, and it is the 1010 portal. So we have this 1010 gateway coming up here. And, let me do my quick math. So 10-10-2024. So we've got the energy of 10. It's a 10 energy. Yes, because, stay with me. When we are calculating the energy of a day, we're adding together the month, the day, and the year. And since we know 2024 adds up to the number 8, we add that to the 1 plus 0, 1 plus 0. So we're adding 1 and 1 to 8, and that is 10. So this is a 10, 10, 10 energy that we're talking about, which is really powerful for this gateway of new beginnings, this energy that we're stepping into, that we can cross over into really emerging with some great awarenesses and expansive understandings. So let's see what's coming in for how we are growing on 1010. The Hanged Man. Okay, so it's our first major arcana of the week. Major arcana meaning those big secrets, those major archetypes of the tarot. So those are the ones where we say, hey, what is this about? This is a significant stop along my fool's journey, as opposed to the minor arcana, which are those 4 suits, of which the swords and cups are 2, right? That make up the people, places, and things on the fool's journey. So the Hanged Man is significant in the notion of being, the perception of being stuck or in some way held up, actually creating for us the perfect environment for this clarity and this aha. But really an invitation to see things from another angle. I can't wait to hear the interpretation from the Trick or Treat Tarot on this one, because I see a cell phone there. So this is kind of cool. So we're dealing with somebody who is hanging upside down, cell phone at their feet. Like, what's happening here in the stuckness that's actually bringing in some illumination and some enlightenment, which is coming in this case from the cell phone. So there's a connection here to the ways in which we're communicating and connecting with others outside of this perception of being stuck. So very curious to see what the Trick or Treat Tarot brings to that unique perspective, which is what that card is all about, perspectives and seeing things from new angles. So then finally Friday, we wrap up the week with a energy that's coming forward here. So let's see what's coming out for us collectively for Friday to wrap up the week. And then we will pull our Oracle card. See, one card. Ooh, felt that one. Give me a little nod. Queen of Pentacles, beautiful. So yeah, that's another one of the minor arcana. So we have represented here 3 of the 4 in the swords, the cups, and now the pentacles, which is that earth energy, material, tangible. So the swords representing all the thoughts, the air element, you know, all of this mental energy. The cups, all the emotion and the feels and the heart energy. And now the pentacles are bringing together. This is perfect because we ended last week with our pumpkin-headed emperor and this energy of, you know, needing to bridge head and heart, you know, and that again, the mental, this air element, along with the emotional, the water element, the two beautifully come together to create something of tangibility, of physicality that we bring forward. And the Queen of Pentacles is really the spirit of that energy. So we'll get into that. And she looks like she has a special story here with all of her goodies and her trick-or-treating energy that's going on here. I love it. This is so fun. So we've got quite the spread here to get into, and then we're going to top it off with an oracle message for us from this really fun Halloween oracle, which once again, I will be featuring this week as part of a Pick a Door that we will do on the 1010 portal. So you can stay tuned for that on the Empowerment Sharecast. I do try to share on social media when I can. And I do understand not everyone is up for yet another app, but just can't stress to you enough. It's free. It's fun. It's just a little place tucked away from the noise of social media where we're able to connect a bit more intimately. And again, there's an ease in our ability to exchange I offer you a free personal card pull, which I send to you by a private video that you can then take in your time throughout the week. So if you would like to check that out again, you can see the October Empowerment Sharecast link that I always provide in my caption, in my bio, and also encourage you to just leave me a comment or shoot me a message and we will get you there. Okay, what is our little bonus oracle message coming forward? That one is popping right out. That's lovely. Night Song, Hidden Talents. This beautiful card. It's so funny because like I'm moving through like a season of different milestone events and markers of things. And this past week, October 3rd, was my grandmother's heavenly birthday. And I have always connected her with the energy of the cardinal and my grandfather with the blue jay. So it's a very special totem to me. And we are blessed to have a lot of these beautiful singing birds around us, that it gives me another nod to, again, the ancestral energy and our loved ones in spirit that are so close to us at this time. They always are all around, but this time of year with this increasing thinning of the veil and this connection where we may be really tapping into some more feelings of our intuition and ability to connect in this energetic way is really on point. So I'm just getting a little message around that. And the hidden talents being that a lot of times we're quick to say that, like, oh yeah, I'm not psychic. I don't have any of those gifts or abilities, or, I'm just making it up or whatever it is. That actually in this place of air and then the pentacles of the earth energy of making it something of tangibility, somewhere in between is where we tap into these hidden talents and our abilities in a thought, a scent, a sound, something that bubbles up and just pops into our mind that we may negate or excuse or, convince ourselves a million ways that this is not something that we're tapping into in the way of a sixth sense. But in fact, one of the things that I have found on my journey and in my path is it is like learning a new language, and it's a very subtle language, the way that the universe speaks to us in signs and symbols and energetic impressions. And of course it's different for everyone, but I'm feeling that very strongly. I'm not sure here what we'll uncover as the night song's message, but I'm definitely getting a wave of this ever presence of the ancestors and this opportunity for us to really connect in with that energy. So I'm going to bring forward one of the sprays that I have created brought out for our altar this month, and just intuitively felt into the ancestral healing spray. Now, these are, of course, by Angelic Celestial Colors. These are a part of my Metatron color healing practice, but they're beautiful aura sprays that help us to connect in through different intentions and bringing in crystal and essential oil and intention, beautiful energy to help us to infuse that into what is coming forward for us. So I am feeling the ancestors coming in here as well to be noted this week. So with that, I'm going to wrap up this part of the week ahead messages, and we will be rolling into the energetic weather. We'll be talking about each one of these cards and our bonus message. I'm actually going to take a break as I'm recording this on Sunday. So if you're catching this live, I will be back later today, Sunday, to record all of these messages. I'm balancing my items to do and family time, because we're also having a very special visit from my oldest daughter, who is home for the very first time from college for a whirlwind visit. So wanting to maximize my time with her. She's been hitting the books, unfortunately, even though she's on break, it doesn't stop. So I was multitasking while she's entertained, but we're going to spend some quality time together, and then I will be back later to dive into these messages. So this gives a time for people to catch up and for this to land. But of course, whenever you're seeing this, whatever day, it's all in divine timing. And again, anyone who would like a personal card pull for this week, please feel free to let me know. We're going to get into all of this a little later today, and we shall talk soon. Much love. All right, let's get into this week with some energetic weather here on the other side of the solar eclipse that we've just experienced last week. And while we are still technically in eclipse season until the next lunation, which is the full moon in Aries, which is not an eclipse, but poised to be a powerful full moon. So stay tuned for that. We'll be dipping into those energies next week. I will, of course, have the Empowerment full moon reading available. And for those of you already with me, we'll be diving deep into that one. But now we turn towards this week, where a couple of highlights, beginning with midweek, October 9th, we have Jupiter retrograde. So Jupiter, which is the planet of abundance and expansion, will be entering retrograde in the sign of Gemini. Now, Jupiter just entered Gemini back in May, and so this is the first retrograde that we've experienced. Jupiter is going to travel from 21 degrees of Gemini back to 11 degrees of Gemini, and during this retrograde, themes from the end of May to September of this year may come back around. So again, get in that time machine, think back not too far to September, just last month, and backwards toward May. Themes coming up, things that were showing up around you may be coming back around. So be aware that we have Jupiter joining the planets, asteroids in retrograde on the 9th. Now, as one goes back, another one goes forward. October 11th, Pluto will station direct. So Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth, emerges from the underworld in Capricorn. So this is, remember the last time that Pluto will be in Capricorn in our lifetime. So as Pluto is wrapping up his final stint in Capricorn, now we're really going to go back in that time machine. We may be transported back to 2008 in some way. We may find themes from this time officially coming to a close, or we may feel at peace with whatever transpired. So, it's likely that we've all changed a lot since then, right? Thinking back to 2008, like I said, I had my second child that year, kind of crazy to think, and she's now, studying for her driver's license. What may have unfolded for you at that time where we could see things officially coming to a close in the different themes that were showing up. Or we could finally be feeling at peace with whatever it is that transpired. Of course, as we've all likely changed a lot since then, Pluto stationing direct is a good time to celebrate the journey that we have traveled. And Pluto is going to re-enter Aquarius, on November 20th, where it will officially remain until 2043. This is something we've been talking about and teasing forever. This is officially this 20-year stretch of Pluto in Aquarius, marking the next age that we are in the process of co-creating together now. The other aspect we have coming in, I'll just extend into the weekend, October 12th, the Sun square Mars. So yes, the Sun square Mars, it peaks on this day, October 12th, but yet this is something that we've been feeling building all month. So the Sun in Libra will square Mars in Cancer. And so that could bring up a bit of tension, a buildup of tension. So if we have been feeling stretched thin or burnt out, we may finally reach our limit that day. Heated emotions may rise as well, which can cause us to lash out or get snappy with those around us. We can channel this energy into being proactive, taking action, and exercise. And then tensions will begin to ease after this peak day. So, again, we tap into these aspects to be mindful, not fearful, and we're not predicting anything or shadow casting that we are going to have a bad day or any of that. It's about being aware, bringing in a layer of awareness of the energies that are at play, these natural rhythms of the universe that stream onto our planet, that we can align ourselves with to best flow through them with more grace and ease. So we shall see how those things all play out as we move through the week. And now we're going to turn to our tarot messages and our oracle card here for our collective guidance. Let's take a look at Monday. Okay, guys, welcome in. We are going to get into our collective messages here for our week ahead, starting with the tarot messages that came forward in the previous card pull. We're using, I opened right to it, the Trick or Treat Tarot. So once again, we've got this seasonal flair going on, all building up to All Hallows Eve here at the end of the month, but really enjoying the way in which these archetypes are brought through in this very creative deck. So we have this beautiful book. Like I said, it shows us this full color so you can really see our Monday card coming in as that 10 of Swords. And as I mentioned in the card pulls, it actually is quite numerologically interesting here because we started with a 10, then we got a 9, and then we moved into the midweek blessing for 10/9, October 9th. And I say that as a cardinal is right outside my window. I can hear it singing out there. So we are headed at the end of our messages this week to our oracle message here from the Halloween Oracle, which features that beautiful cardinal. So as we begin here with this 10 of Swords, let's tap into the Trick or Treat Tarot perspective of this card. So it says, here's a game you don't see every day or even on Halloween, although it looks fun and satisfying. Hopefully that larger than life doll doesn't represent a real person though. Life will be hard for them and the karmic kickback on the players would be equally bad. Keep it clean and don't dabble in dark magic, my friends. When this card comes up, the problems are piling up. It's a frustrating, challenging situation comprised of lots of smaller situations. You might feel like you're about to give in and just collapse. Anyone would feel the same. Trying to spin this picture into something pleasant would be insulting. So we won't do that. Instead, let's remember that the 10s, here we go, this is what I was saying, and of course it's so auspicious for this week being the 10/10 portal. 10s usually mark the end of a situation, and that is true here as well. No matter how awful this all is, it is near the climax, and soon enough the swords will start falling away, leading you back to the ace, where you can find solutions and clarity. Literally, guys, literally. This is the Ace of Swords. So this is beautiful. The 10 and all that has passed will fall away and lead you back to the ace. And we literally got both of them here for this week with one of the most positive cards of the tarot in the center, the 9 of Cups, which is listed here in our intentions as a potential block or challenge this week. So we're going to feel into how these are all weaving together. So, yes, and I'm going to say as a general reading here, yes, for some people, the 10 of Swords is like burnout. Like I say, stick a fork in me, I'm done. You may be coming from a very busy time, active time. Again, it really highlights the mind and thoughts racing, monkey mind, analysis paralysis, the sense of there's so much coming at us at once that maybe we can't see clearly or think clearly. But also just in general, the notion of all that, we have going on that we're trying to triage and prioritize and take care of that can be exhausting. For some people, yes. This also can be the end of a challenging time that, again, it's very cerebral. It's very much about the thoughts and the beliefs and the ideas that we carry that we may be freeing ourselves from, and we'll see how this stacks with these other cards to really bring in some clarity around. There's many different ways it can show up for people, but there is a message of hanging in there. The end of troubles are in sight. So 10 denoting this ending. On the other side, a new beginning. So let's feel into the Tuesday message with this card of wishes to see how this is unfolding. Okay, Tuesday is representing a potential block or challenge this week with a really positive and auspicious card, typically, the card of wishes, the 9 of Cups. And we see here that the mermaid is hanging out on her chaise here with all these beautiful cups of blessings that are filled. And in fact, as I noticed when I pulled the card, kind of ascending up the stairs. So it's interesting because this is a potential block or challenge this week. So when we talk about what we wish for, what we're wanting, in order to count our blessings and feel like, we're manifesting things in our life that represent what we desire. Yes, it does speak to those things that we wish for, but there really is no guarantee on that wish, right? Because this is traditionally known as a wish card, but as the Trick or Treat Tarot is saying, what it really means is that you are perfectly content with what you have, particularly in terms of relationships of all sorts. You are at ease with feelings and can share them with others in a healthy way. In short, you feel fulfilled and satisfied so much that you don't really need that wish, as it seems all of yours have been granted. If there's any advice here, it is to share your good fortune with others. Now, if it's a challenge, if it feels blocked, then perhaps that statement isn't true in every case, right? Perhaps we don't feel perfectly content with all that we have, specifically in terms of relationships of all sorts. So if we do not feel at ease with our feelings, that we can share them with others in a healthy way, this is where we can be feeling this block when it comes to the free flow of our thoughts and our communication, which is the swords, right? And this card is planted right between the sort of one end of the spectrum where it's at its most, enmeshed in all of that 10 of swordsiness, to the open, freeing energy of an Ace of Swords, which is clarity and aha and new thoughts coming forward, new beliefs, new understandings. So I don't feel, too put out by the idea that this would be sort of challenged, right? Because it didn't come out reversed, but we're saying that because it is such a typically positive energy, and we're talking block or challenge, you may be becoming acutely aware of the ways in which some of your relationships or lack of relationships are not meeting your needs, and that you're not feeling at ease, that everything is healthy and flowing. So this is where awareness is the first step, right? To have this come up to us and demonstrated to us through all of our relationships means we are right on schedule, right? This is this party that's going on here, and she's surrounded by all of these cups of blessings, which may mean you have an abundance of them surrounding you, which is all of the many different relationships in your life, which include, our romantic relationships, friendships, family, work relationships, acquaintances, also relationships with aspects of ourself, relationships with things like food and wellness, or, all different things that we are in an energetic exchange with. If that energy in any way feels off, unbalanced, not clear, not free flowing, this is what the things that we may have been getting brought to our attention through all of those swords, these thoughts and ideas and beliefs that have been cropping up throughout this eclipse season, and specifically Libra season, because there's such a focus on relationships, which is this primary way that we do this whole humanity thing, right? This fool's journey is really, we've decided as a collective to have this experience through these relationships. And so they do serve, and they are abundant in the blessings and opportunities that they bring for us on every level, on every level. So, this is where, if you are feeling some of that, this could be how that feels out of balance in some way. Dissatisfied or not feeling all of that in flow. But there's an opportunity here for us to flip that over. And this is really key. How we are growing this week, being the one major arcana card that we got, is saying, hey, flip this over and look at it from a different perspective, and recognize that it is often the most challenging relationships, the most complex, entanglement of thoughts and beliefs and ideas that end up being the very catalyst that takes us to a point of clarity coming in, those cutting through and bringing forward those higher truths and greater blessings to flow forward. The other thing that this card can represent from a real practical standpoint is overindulgence. It can literally speak to overeating, overdrinking, just overdoing it. So for some people, just an awareness there of, sometimes it seems like a good idea going in. And then on the other side, it's like, what was I thinking? Or maybe you come out like, no regrets, I'd do it again because that was delicious, or whatever it is. But just noting that there's the shadow side of this card can be overindulgence. It can also be like smugness or selfishness, or aspects of self that are sort of like, where there could be a little bit of an ego chip there that, somebody could be brought down a couple of notches. And again, this doesn't have to be you, but it can be an energy that's in your midst as well that you find challenging, a personality or an aspect of someone in your midst that is a challenge this week. But, we'll take a look now at this midweek blessing, because there's definitely an opportunity for clarity and communication that come through with that card. So let's take a look now at Wednesday. All right, Wednesday is our midweek blessing, October 9th. As I mentioned in the card poll, it is my 20th wedding anniversary. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's actually marking an interesting day for me because like I said, I have a lot of milestones and marked events that come out in October, and a double on this day because 20 years ago, I was married, and 10 years ago, we moved into our home that we built. So it's very symbolic to me of a lot of the collective messages I've been bringing forward, which of course we do through our own lenses, through our own experiences that act as inspiration, and that me tapping into just sort of some of the things that are happening in my little world, being symbolic of the way in which the collective energies show up for me. So it's sort of noting these points in time. And as we're talking about some of these astrological aspects, having us kind of go back and look at where we were in 2008. And then even just in these past few months, when we're talking about looking back from, May to September of this year, and just sort of understanding the endings and new beginnings and and everything in between. So we have that coming up here, of course, with that ending of the 10 to the new beginning of the Ace, coming in as a midweek blessing with the Ace of Swords. So the Ace of Swords is coming in with this message. Whatever kind of knight you are, you need a sword. For Halloween festivities, make it a safety blade, something that won't cause any real damage. No one wants tricks like that tonight. Even so, holding such a weapon makes you feel confident and brave, like you are equipped to handle whatever comes your way. Jabberwocks beware, the snicker snacker of my vorpal blade, it says. When this card comes up, you are equipped to handle what comes your way. If your way includes a tricky problem that requires a cunning and smart solution, or if you are looking for truth, this sword is coming forward and all about cutting the lies away from the truth. So we're talking about it being used for slaying Gordian knots, and cutting the lies away from the truth. So dead, useful, but dangerous. It represents your keen mind. Yes, but also your words, which fly to the heart of their target quicker than any sword. This is what I was saying, the head and the heart, right? And so we saw that represented here, among other places, as we've been exploring this month, but we see that sword, the pin, meeting the heart. So this connection between what we know, what we think we know, our beliefs, and all the things that's comprised of, and then what we feel, the hearts, the cups, the emotions, and bringing those two things together in this really strong and powerful way, because it also speaks to, in the middle of the crown and the heart, is the throat, right? So we have the communication, the expression, which is also such a big part of the air element, speaking your truth, expressing. So, bringing these two together, the words fly to the heart of their target quicker than any sword. So no matter how you choose to use this gift, make sure you mean it. As always, there will be consequences. And yeah, this is something we've been talking about, of cause and effect, an action and a reaction. So with all the choices that we make and what we say and how we say it, it all matters, because what that's saying rather beautifully is that the words make it to the heart faster than any sword, so there's this sense of how we impact each other through our words and how we communicate and what we believe about ourselves and what we are capable of. And, it brings through this higher truth and clarity in our communication, in our actions, and really moving from a place of a lower vibrational state of indecision, faulty logic, knee-jerk reactions, miscommunications, confusion, failure, and injustice, to a place that is much more sound logic, intellect, reason, truth, victory, decision, having that clarity. and communicating it. Like I said, right away, what jumped out to me as a totem here are all of these bats. And so I pulled up the Spirit Animal Oracle, one of my favorites for really tapping into animal energy and symbolism. And as I mentioned in the card pull, bats represent rebirth. And in this case, the message speaks to a rebirth is assured. So remember what I said about Monday and about stick a fork in me, I'm done. It's the end of one cycle. Now we're moving towards the beginning of something new, this clarity, this aha. Bat Spirit says, after something has run its course and died or been released, finished, surrendered, completed, or ended, there is a promise of a new beginning. Beautiful. Rebirth is assured, just as night gives way to dawn and the bat emerges from the darkness of a womb-like cave. Bat Spirit has come to remind you that this rebirth is a miraculous one. For the very best elements of what you had to give up in the death of the old, they're still present in this new amazing life forming now. This is the miracle and magic of rebirth in every aspect of your life, including the rebirth of faith in your ability to establish new and healthy relationships. Yes, you see what I'm saying? Like, we can't make this up. It's brilliant the way that, and this is why I'm such a geek about cards, for example, when I said during the card pull, that the universe speaks to us in subtle signs and symbols and impressions that we get. When you tune into these things that I call spiritual breadcrumbs, the little inklings, the whisperings, the things that you start to notice patterns, when you tune in, you start to see this. All these deck creators didn't all get together and coordinate the production of all these beautiful decks. And yet, one masterfully brings together the sword and the bats as a symbol of new beginnings, and so communication and relationships and the way that we connect. And then we tap into another one where the bat as a totem is saying the exact same thing, that this is really marking new and healthy relationships in our life. So, it really talks about the reminder that's coming in that, yes, we're in unknown territory and it may feel as though we are lost, but we're being called to trust that our intuition will be a reliable guide as we give birth to something new and unfamiliar. So it's really beautiful, this symbolism that comes in, asking us to trust that what seems to have died is actually shape-shifting into something even more meaningful and wondrous than before. So this is where, the challenge of the wishes, the hopes, and all of that not happening or not coming could all be a part of what is actually laying the foundation for something greater. So let's take a look now at the Thursday energy. Okay, Thursday is representing how we are growing. And I'm super curious about this major arcana card because, like I said, it really looks like there's a story here as I saw the vampire hanging upside down with all these little minions at their feet and the cell phone at the bottom. So I just referred to the Trick or Treat Tarot, and we have a little story here. So for this Hanged Man, the family is ready early for trick-or-treating. Twilight is such a glorious, magical in-between time. So for now, the kiddos get some undivided attention and the vampire gets a new perspective on the world. Letting go of the phone for a while is a small price to pay for such treasured moments. When this card shows up, be prepared to be swept off your feet. Not by romance, but by a revelation. You might find yourself suddenly looking at the world from a different point of view that allows you to shed some things and embrace new things. Maybe that phone that you've been staring at all day no longer feeds your soul. You look up or upside down and see that there is something that will satisfy you in a real way. It feels like a sacrifice to let go of some comforting behavior, and that it is part of the Hanged Man experience for sure. You make room for something of even greater value. Perhaps you won't be swept up though. Maybe you will have to climb a tree and hang yourself. Not an easy thing, but you can manage it. So wow, this is really cool because this is sort of tying it all together, and everything that we've talked about so far is the energy of, remember I said with the potential block or challenge of that Nine of Cups is maybe something that I used to wish for, that I thought I wanted, actually is no longer in alignment, actually doesn't bring me the joy that I thought it would, or that it once did. But I've changed. And as I change, so too may my preferences and my priorities. And so this is really cool. I didn't see it coming that these were his kids, that these were trick-or-treaters nipping at his heels and everywhere else, that there was this opportunity to unplug, from the phone, which I think we can take very literally here as how are we growing? Perhaps we're having less and less of, I'd like to say we're less dependent, but maybe we're becoming acutely aware of the dependency that we have, being plugged in to all the time, 24/7, never resting, never taking that pause in between, never having an opportunity to appreciate that twilight, that we have a renewed awareness suddenly coming to our attention, which is exactly what our midweek blessing said. An ace is like, like this sword appears like out of nowhere. This hand is reaching out from behind the curtain with exactly this thing of clarity, this idea, this awareness that we didn't even know we needed, perhaps, because we were so bogged down with these old, tired beliefs and ideas and ways of being that now we came to this point where we're feeling that twinge of like, is this too much? Have we overindulged in some of that wishful thinking, or what we thought we were wishing for or wanting, or what it was to be abundant or blessed? And so, we could take this all kinds of collective directions when we talk about the ways in which being plugged in has absolutely run its course when it comes to being out of balance. So there's this opportunity for us to just kind of like hang tight where we are, right? Look at something from a different point of view, from a different perspective in terms of, what is nourishing us? What are we nourishing ourselves with? And this is not just, yes, physically, what are we eating, drinking, sleep, all of those things in terms of how we're caring for our physical body, which is where we're headed here with the Friday to wrap us up, bringing us into the physical. But also all these swords are speaking to the energetic essence of how we are nourishing ourselves. And if we're plugged into, this low vibrational, heavy energy all the time, that we are feeling those impacts. And so, flip that over and looking to new ways. And like it said, maybe this isn't just going to be something that becomes immediately apparent. We may need to consciously climb that tree and hang ourselves from that different position where we can flip something over and see it differently, a different way to do something, a new angle to take. So, the opposite of this, if we're not growing, if we're stagnant, we could be feeling really frustrated by what we perceive to be being in limbo. There can be a martyrdom energy to this of like, why am I getting held up? Why am I getting stuck in this? Why isn't my wish coming true? Blah, blah, blah. Indecision, self-sabotage, that type of feeling that we're really stuck versus allow the hang up to be the thing that brings through that clarity and that awareness. So I love that came up. And like I said, this is a major arcana card as opposed to the rest of these being minor. So it's a pay attention and see me hanging here upside down to say that there is another way for us to see our situation, our circumstances. And some of that is really having the potential to serve us greatly in making some shifts and some adjustments as we then step forward on the other side of this pause and regroup. And like I said, it's really potent this week because of this 1010 portal that we're talking about the vibrational frequency of a day, which I said, like I said, it's this day. Oh my gosh, we can't make it up. Yeah, like I said, all the dates this week, I'm in my, okay, that's my anniversary. This is the 1010 portal, so it's like, wow, this is literally the day that has the energetic frequency of endings and new beginnings. And this is the in-between, what lies between either side of those ones, right? Because 10 is a one energy and we have two of them come together. And I even was saying, in the basic quick math that I'm capable of doing, I can add up the date to say that the 1 of the month, the 1 of the day, and the 8 vibration of the year, which is all the digits of 2024 added up to the number 8, 1, 1, and 8 is 10. So we come right back around again, endings and new beginnings. And in the in-between, in the pause, that's where the good stuff is. This opportunity for us to glean these new awarenesses and these aha moments and this clarity that can come in when we allow. So that's powerful. And like I said, these things can show up for us any number of ways. We may literally feel stuck or held up or something running late or, missing something in some way that, like we said, when we're in the moment can be really frustrating. It stops us in our tracks and we don't always see the greater purpose that's serving. Oftentimes when we look back, we can see how things maybe worked out for the better that we didn't realize. And often other times we will never know, that the reason that we got held up at that red light or got rerouted in that detour or that appointment got canceled or any number of things that can happen to hang us up actually served. So, wow, it's a lot of energy coming in this week for wrapping things up, being in the in-between and then stepping into the new. So let's take a look on the other side, how things come out with our Friday card. Now, finally, Friday, we arrive at the 5th Trick or Treat Tarot energy for our week to wrap it all up. And we have the Queen of Pentacles. So I can see that she's got a lot going on here in this cottage. There's a story. And just tapping into the traditional references to the Queen of Pentacles. And as I mentioned in the court cards, they represent personality aspects of us or someone in our midst, or perhaps something that we're being encouraged to adopt certain, aspects or ways of being, or personality attributes, all those kind of things where we're talking about the Queen. So she captures like the spirit of the suit that she appears in. This is the Pentacles. Pentacles represent material, the earth, money, safety, security, our things, the tangible stuff. And we can see she's got a lot going on here. So here's her story. When this one says, "Come here, my sweet," she means it. Children are her favorite, especially ones in costumes, especially greedy ones who eat lots of candy. Everything about her warns you away, but she's got that cookie and it looks so good. "Come on," she says again, "you have lessons to learn, and don't even think of pushing me in the fire. That will not work twice." Okay, so when this card comes up, it represents someone who creates abundance and beauty in whatever they do. The key to their success is through fearless experimentation. They discover how things work and how to work with resources. They may be a gifted trash to treasure crafter or run a successful business. If you ask them for help, they will give it, but they are more likely to help you learn for yourself than just do it for you. Don't worry though, they won't let you fail and will step in to save you if necessary. To get them firmly on your side, appeal to their practical nature. Be willing to be taught, have your sleeves rolled up, and prepare to work hard. Yeah, so the archetype of the Queen of Pentacles is the self-made woman. Now, it doesn't have to be a woman, but it takes on a female archetype, the feminine energy of, she is a homemaker and provider in her surroundings, which are lush and abundant, and she shares. So there's this sense of generosity, which is true of the Queen and the King of Pentacles. There's this richness and this generous nature that they have created their own abundance and they share it widely. So, again, if this brings to mind anyone or aspects of you or someone in your midst or a situation, then that may be the direction that this is showing up for you. In general, once again, we're talking about taking the stuff of all of this and making from it something of value, of material wealth. And by wealth, we don't just mean money. We mean like some type of a commodity, our little cookie that we have here at the end. She's got this cookie in her hand, brilliantly as the pentacle, that is like the sweet stuff that we create from all that came before it. So when we talk about what are we endeavoring to create and what are we baking in it? It's funny because if you did the pick a pumpkin with me over the weekend and you happened to pick, I think it was the first pumpkin, but it was the one that came up with magic cookies. And if you didn't, you can go back and listen to it. The magic cookies one was about baking cookies with love and literally putting the word love into it. And so I was talking about how the words matter and the energy of intention matters, so that, when you are literally making something like cookie batter or pancakes or something like that, that you can actually write a high vibrational word or intention in the batter, like writing love, putting it on the side of the beverage that you're drinking. A lot of times water bottles have high vibrational symbols or sayings or words, because it matters energetically. It manifests physically. And so she is one who has brought that intangible to earth and anchored it in a way that she has something of physical manifestation to show for it, and she shares it. So again, just kind of bringing that into the context of everything that's just been coming through here intuitively, is that all of these thoughts and beliefs and ideas that we're up leveling at this time, as we're closing out old beliefs, old ways of being, old ways of communicating, and sort of replacing them as the rebirth of them coming in as new, up leveling, and specifically in our relationships. So how can we share that abundantly, and how can we kind of spread that positivity and that high vibrational energy? And, literally could be like baking something with love and gifting it, bringing it into work or your neighbors, or, just making something that, because somebody really enjoys it, and brightening their day and sharing that and passing it on, like literally a practical way that could be done. So, of course, any number of ways this may show up. And as I always say, I love hearing from you guys to just hear how it resonates for you. And I know some of you tune in throughout the week and listen, on the day of each card, which I think is awesome too. So if you're just hearing this on Friday, I love to hear from you. And, I usually end up saving it till the last day, so you may not hear this until Friday. But again, if anyone would like a personal card pull, if any of these specifically have been speaking to you and you want to know a little more about how something might show up for you, or from a particular angle, just let me know. And I'll be offering, those card pulls this week, and I'd be happy to pull one for you. We'll be using this deck. We actually have one more card yet to go. We're going to wrap everything up here with our collective messages with our Halloween Oracle card. So let's take a look. All right, we have our final message for this week collectively. It is from the Halloween Oracle from Stacey DeMarco. And as I mentioned, this is the deck that I will be using for a Pick a Door card pull this week on the 1010 portal. Just giving you a little preview here of some of these beautifully illustrated cards that really weave together some Halloween themes and messages. I love that this one just paused here, because there's definitely a nod to the ancestors coming up for me through the messages we're getting here with our card that we're going to look at here in a moment. But like I said, this deck I'll be using for the 1010 portal to do a Pick a Door for that energy, where we're looking at, what endings and new beginnings and crossing over there. Yes, gorgeous ancestors, the love and legacy of our DNA. Yeah. Like I said, during the card pull, I was really feeling that, because this is a bird that I associate with my beloved grandmother, who her heavenly birthday was just on October 3rd. And so I've really, as always, around this time tend to feel my grandparents' presence, especially around me. And actually, as I started recording our messages here, there was a cardinal right outside my door, and I can always hear the song of a cardinal. It's just very I really can tell that sound over other bird calls. I'm not an expert on different bird songs, but that is one I know, and it always kind of gives me a little nod. Grandmom is close by. So, beautiful in terms of your loved ones in spirit and feeling that closeness in our ancestral line, and how that's something that will continue to be coming forward as we're moving deeper into, we'll be getting Scorpio season and the thinning of the veil, and more to come on all of that. But I was just definitely feeling that energy. And like I said, I know there's some more on that here in this beautiful deck. Now, the night song energy, the message we're getting here for our week, talks to hidden talents. And it says, a ruby red bird singing in the darkness full of sound, like an unopened present, ribbons still abound. And it talks about how a bird singing at night is an unusual occurrence, and those birds who are known as singers of the darkness are almost always considered sacred or perhaps frightening. From the operatic nightingale through to the hooting owl, hearing a bird that you cannot see, weaving its magic through the night sky, has captivated humans for millennia. In the past, at Halloween time, a night that the veil between the worlds was said to be at its thinnest, these night birds were considered either omens or messengers of the gods. Depending on the culture, their voices were perceived as good luck and a positive validation, or alternatively, a warning about continuing on certain pathways. In some mythology, the night bird was able to direct us towards discovering our talents and true purpose, a kind of guide in the darkness leading us to the dawn. So should this beautiful but shy bird sing to you by appearing during your divination, as it has here for us this week, know that you must unwrap the present of yourself. Look, some of the gifts within you remain unopened. The time has come to step into your true potential and claim all possibilities for yourself. There is no more time to waste. No more excuses. Well, yeah, and if I were weaving that into this nod to the ancestral realm that I'm getting, and I'm really, because I'm seeing here too now, and I never know how it shows up on camera for you guys, but this is reminding me of the little orbs, those little balls of light that sometimes show up in photographs. And again, I have a very special connection to that because in the many years since my grandmother's passing, I'll just share the story, but again, just see how this might be something in there for you. We have a family tradition at Christmas time, unwrapping all of the gifts and leaving all of the wrapping paper on the floor. And at the end, it used to be just the women, because that's all we had, and my grandfather being the only man, the women and the children got into the wrapping paper and took a picture. And I have this picture from my very first Christmas to nearly every Christmas since. And so, of course, my grandmother was the central matriarch figure of that. And then in the years following her passing, every year without fail, orbs would be in that picture. We had tons of pictures we took on Christmas Day, and it never failed. That particular picture always had these orbs. So it's just this special little thing. Now, of course, as cameras have changed and such, and lighting and all the things, we haven't always seen it show up just the same. But nonetheless, just sharing that little nugget that I'm getting there to say that this is just how it's working for me to really tap in intuitively to feel that, yes, this is a message not just about untapped gifts and potential within you, but the remembrance that it's all within you. So when we talk about the DNA, when we talk about our bloodline and our family lines and from where we came, that oftentimes when we talk about ancestors, we talk about ancestral trauma and wounding and healing those things, and how we've inherited these things that may show up in a number of what's generally perceived as a hindrance, not a good thing, certainly not something that we may call a gift. but we are reminded that we also inherited the gifts and the strengths of our ancestors, not just the wounding and the trauma. And that also some of the things that we have interpreted up to this point as trauma or, a negative thing, how can we claim those things through our own unique perspectives and turn them into wielding them, remember our Queen of Pentacles, as something of value, something that is in fact a gift, so there's this sense of this card talking about these hidden talents that are within you that once again, sometimes, once we're able to strip away the brilliant disguises, right? Once we're able to peel away these layers of belief systems and limited beliefs and ideas that we've been operating under for so long with this 10 of Swords, that's when we can really uncover these gifts and blessings. But that can be tricky, right? There can be challenges there because claiming something, believing that we have what it takes, and really emerging with that sense of empowerment, reborn, the rebirth energy, can be tricky. And I didn't get to mention when I was reading about the bat spirit, it was actually card number 5. So it was holding the frequency of the number 5, which of course is the number of change and transformation. And it includes the fact that can be tricky in between. There can be confusion and chaos in the process of change. And so as we're making this massive change as a collective, and remember, one of the main big things that's happening this week is Pluto stationing direct and getting ready to move into Aquarius for the next 20 years, which is completely shaping the future of the age of Aquarius and where we are heading to as a humanity. Like I said, I know you're like, I'm here for what's happening this week. What are you talking about? 20 years, all of eternity. No, but I'm saying it's all the things. So, I'm getting swept away in just all the places we can go with these messages to say that none of it is inconsequential. It can literally just be you uncovering something that you have a renewed passion for, or a gift or a knack for something that you didn't realize that you had within you, or that maybe you've had this, sense of it being something that you wanted to do, that maybe you could do, but having a sense of, disempowerment or fear and not thinking that you can do it or that you're good enough or any of that stuff, that we're freeing ourselves of, that we're transmuting that energy. And again, with this rebirth energy of coming forward on the other side of that 10-10 energy, renewed, rebirthed, having this sense of empowerment that we actually have what it takes. And this is the energy, again, like I said, of a self-made person who brings forward all that they have to work with and makes something of true value and meaning from it, and they share it abundantly. They don't hide it and sit on it because they're afraid that nobody's going to like it, or it's not good enough, or they're not qualified, or a whole host of other things that the ego will try to tell us to keep us pinned here, right? The ego will try to keep us there because it's safe, it's predictable, it's manageable, but expanding into taking our rightful seat as the queen, the king, the spirit, or the embodiment of all of this is something that, may be new and uncharted territory, but it's where we're headed. So week by week, we go. So for this week, make it as big or small in steps as you'd like, but that's what I have coming forward. So I hope you've enjoyed the messages. Happy to connect with you this week. If you would like a personal card pull, please let me know. But sending you all much love and many blessings. Have a fantastic week.